Right, back live tonight here on In Focus, and thanks for staying on. The Gauteng ANC says it's not ruling out withdrawing from its coalition with the EFF in the city of Ekurhuleni. This as fighting continues between the two parties, particularly over the metro's finances, which are under the control of the EFF's Nkululeko Dunga. Gauteng ANC chairperson Panyaza Lesufi is with us now to talk a little bit more about this. Good to have you.
Thank you so much. How are you well?
I'm well, and hope you're well too.
No, we are trying.
So, I mean, we've tried to tackle this. We had Jongi Zizwe here. Yeah. We spoke to the EFF on this. There's apparently a feud that is going on there in the mayoral committee, and meetings basically are falling apart because they're at each other's throats. What's going on?
Well, it's the nature of coalition governments. Remember, to enter into a coalition with any political party does not mean you need to agree with them. You must have a minimum program of action that you agree on. But beyond that, each and every political party wants its own identity. I think that is what is happening there. The only unfortunate part is the inconsistency of those that are reporting about coalition governments. You will recall last week the leader of Action SA, Herman Mashaba, criticized the leadership of DA in Swan, yes, but no one said is the coalition in Swan collapsing. But if there are political differences in any other, as long as they involve the ANC, it means the end of everything, because there is this wish that wherever the ANC is, everything must collapse. We have the right to protest, we have the right to reject, we have the right to express a political view if we see something going wrong. And what our leadership is doing in Ekurhuleni is to point at the deficiencies of some of the departments in Ekurhuleni. And today we've indicated by ESCOM when they published which municipalities are owing ESCOM. Almost 4 billion Swane, almost 1.5 billion in Ekurhuleni. And that's the view that the ANC was expressing, that the nature of debt in Ekurhuleni has the potential to harm and affect not only the coalition but also the running of government in that municipality. So, I mean,
we get that sense that the government of local unity, so to speak, is not sitting around the table and talking to one another, because the caucus leader cannot necessarily then come out on a tangent by himself when you yourself as the leadership have crafted this thing and put it together. There should be a platform where these things are raised to say, well, look, we are seeing the latest report on the financials. We keep paying late. We are not meeting our obligations.
Actually, that is an affirmation that the relationship has not reached a point of no return, because we've got structures where we meet if things are going or falling apart. We have not convened that meeting because we don't believe that things are falling apart. It's just differences of the leadership that need to work in Ekurhuleni. I mean, we have the same setup in Johannesburg. We've never made any noise. We've got the same setup in some of the local municipalities in the West End, and we've not seen any major differences. But we've agreed that let's go and meet with the leadership there as the ANC, so that they can brief us, and where we feel we can intervene, we'll intervene.
Well, I mean, would you say that is probably largely linked with the fact that the leader, the caucus leader, is vocal? I think he's written to you and he's told you that he doesn't believe that this thing of smaller parties being put as mayors and this deal is certainly working for the ANC. Rather, ANC go into opposition if that's what you need to do.
But we've been, and that's the mistake many people are making. In 2016, when we lost power, we occupied opposition benches in Swane, in Ekurhuleni, in Johannesburg. What happened? Our effectiveness of being an opposition party made the then ruling organization to collapse. So if your enemy collapses, do you give the enemy oxygen or you take over? So any other person that claims that we have not occupied opposition benches is wrong. I mean, in the last local government elections in 2021, out of the 11 municipalities in Gauteng, we lost 10 as the ANC. Where are we now? We are in control of 9.5 of those municipalities after we've lost 10. So it's an indication of our presence, it's an indication of our desire to work with other political parties, but it's also an indication of stability. When we're in the opposition benches, how many motions of no confidence were running in all municipalities? There was instability, there were other challenges that we have. We've stabilized that part. The reality is that the funding model of local authorities that was based on people paying for services, were hit by COVID, were hit by load shedding, many people lost their jobs. The funding model of grants coming from national government have its own limitations, so you can't deal with the day-to-day running of municipality. The funding of utilizing electricity as a source of income has been eroded because of load shedding. So we need to look at the aspects on how to improve local government. And one is excited that the minister responsible for local government, she's coming up with solid ideas on how to solidify, strengthen and give support to local authorities. What is happening in Tshwane, it's painful. That people can go almost 2 months on a strike and the municipality does not want to respond, and the municipality says, I don't have money to pay you. Right. And these are people that are making the municipality to function. So it explains the quality and the nature of local authorities. But for us to develop a government of local unity, sustain it and drive it the way we are driving it, if there are differences, they will be there, but we are quite excited that we are still on course.
About your arrangements is that one would affect the other, as we have seen previously. When the EFF felt that their candidate, for example, in Ekurhuleni, was not supported, they didn't support you in the city of Johannesburg. So it's the nature of the arrangement.
It's just gone beyond that. It just affects other provinces.
Other provinces as well. Yes. So if one goes, they all go, right? At what point do you then say, well, look, we are coming out of this? What would be the stroke that will break the camel's back, so to speak?
Well, one thing that we need to emphasize, the ANC is not entering in this thing as a beggar. We're not entering into these discussions to be abused. And we're not entering into this discussion to have services that are supposed to be rendered to our communities not to be rendered. We're entering in this thing because we understand a minimum program of action that can allow us to service our people. Just imagine if we didn't rescue Johannesburg, where Johannesburg was. They were applying for an overdraft of almost 2 billion because they were running out of money. We went there on the ticket of government of local unit to have rescued Johannesburg. Johannesburg is now functional. It might have its own limitations there and there, but it's a functional municipality that can assist us. Whereas Tshwane, we are not there. Tshwane is going down. They owe Eskom. Today, Eskom indicated that the Tshwane owes them almost 4 billion, and Tshwane mayor has gone publicly that they don't have money. An indication that if you don't want to work with all political parties that are involved, you think you can run a municipality alone, you'll go through the difficulties that you're going through. So we don't want to say we are expert, but we want to confirm that the willingness to serve our people, protect them and ensure that they get services is our #1 priority. Even though we've got limitations of coalition, we try hard that where we've entered into local government partnership with any political party, let's service our people and give them. And all the municipalities, that's fine Gauteng, where the ANC is part of governance, there is some level of service delivery that is taking place.
Yeah. Let's reflect on the other issues that the PEC also reflected on. The one being clearly the focus now, from what I'm hearing, is going towards the hospitality sector and the quotas, employment quotas there. What's the thinking? What's the rationale?
No, our approach is that with the high level of unemployment and also with the diminishing skills base that we're observing from people that are applying for jobs, that we should be jealous, that there must be some responsibilities that are assigned to South Africans. And there must be some responsibilities, especially those that have demonstrated the potential to grow, that South Africans must play in that space. We can't fold our arms when a crucial sector in our society has taken a decision to boycott South Africans. A crucial sector in our community has taken a posture that this particular sector is a no-go area for South Africans. I think we'll be missing a point if we allow that. And that is why we are vocal that this sector is part of any other economy in our country, and this sector is operating in our country, and South Africans should be considered. And we are very, very firm on that view. We don't say don't include any other person, But we say it can't be a no-go area for South Africans in their own country. It does not make sense.
I can see what will come next. You say, well, now the ANC is now interfering with the private sector. Sure way of scaring investment in the country, because investors are going to look at this and say, we're going to come and open businesses here. And then the ANC is going to want to dictate terms to us as to how we must run our business.
Even the law that allows you to buy a car is passed by us. The law that allows you to buy a car is passed by us. So there's no private sector that can operate outside the framework of our laws. Every private sector in any country operates within the framework of the laws of that particular country. And the laws of the country say if you need somebody to work in your sector, you must ensure that person gets a work permit. If you want somebody to work in your sector, you must ensure that that particular sector, there's a skill shortage, and therefore you can import another skill that you need in the country. The laws are very, very clear.
So why do you think they've not been implemented? For example, it was a whole meeting, a whole consultation, and quotas that were set by the then Transport Minister in collaboration with the Labour Minister around the trucking space when we saw the adverts that we saw. When you listen to the Trucking Association, they're saying companies are still not adhering to that.
And that's where we must intervene as government. You can't pass laws that you can't defend. You can't pass laws that you can't police. And you can't pass laws that you can't strengthen if there are limitations. We're quite excited. You will see in the next few weeks or so, the Minister of Home Affairs, we will release new regulations that overhaul the entire immigration setup in our country. He has consulted broadly, has consulted us, fortunately, as the African National Congress, and have given him the go-ahead that we can't have so many visas. Maybe you don't even know how many visas we have in the country. You have a family visa, you've got a spousal visa, you've got a work visa, student visa, you've got all these particular visas. And some of them are being abused. And also our hospitality and our Ubuntu as South Africans has also been abused. I mean, South Africans by nature, they are loving, caring. South Africans by nature, they are accommodative. But you can't accommodate people that are killing us, kidnapping us, raping our children, do criminal activities, because they want to enter through a wrong door. If you enter through the right door, you identify yourself, you are properly documented, we are more than willing to be with you and stay with you. But if you enter the wrong door, do illegal things on our country, we'll never fold our arms and watch you. We will attend to you legally and appropriately.
Did the PC weigh in on some of the other administrative issues? For example, City of Johannesburg, the Metro Centre, and the removal of the 3,000 employees. It looks like that place is inhabitable. We were also watching what was happening at the Pretoria Showgrounds in Tshwane. There seems to be, again, a neglect of infrastructure.
Well, let's leave this one element. It's quite clear that where the DA governs, it governs for the minority, not for the majority. Facilities that are utilized by the majority are neglected, unattended. Tshwane is a clear example. Workers that represent and clean our communities are not paid because they are not cleaning areas of the minorities. Services that are needed, like refuse removal and other things in our townships, they've been abandoned. So we're not worried about that. In Johannesburg, we will be worried if there are indeed other things that are happening. But it's an aging infrastructure. I mean, I got a report during the day that there was a bridge that also collapsed this afternoon.
We're testing trends.
There are trends of fires literally everywhere. We assume, but we don't want to confirm that it's either they are coordinated or they're deliberate. It can't be the way they are. So there will be those that will do things to project an image that this government is collapsing. And there will be those that will always try their luck to do wrong things so that everyone can say this government is not functional. And we'll resist that. Our attitude is that we must govern peacefully, but govern for everyone as well.
Yeah. What are supply disruptions? Going to the future, must we start like we are doing now with the load shedding, having backup plans? We're supposed to be having huge tanks now.
Not necessarily, Tabo. I can assure you. We had discussions with the minister. I'm convinced the plans that are there are plans that will work. Originally, we were not consulted. I think you are quite aware that we issued a statement condemning that we were undermined in our own province. That something of this magnitude, I was not briefed. I was not aware. I only got an alert when I saw something in the social media. And I asked the minister and asked Renota, is this fake news? And they then confirmed, no, it's not fake news. The mere fact that I have to ask them is an indication that we're not properly consulted. But the minister clarified it yesterday to say, Premier, there is a team we work with in your province. We had an emergency meeting that was not planned. When we realized that this situation is coming up, unfortunately they could not attend that meeting because it was called on short notice. But we had clarified, and where we are, I can assure you, we don't have to stock out on any form of water tanks. The infrastructure that we have is being attended, and this matter will be resolved not in a distant future.
The Gauteng ANC meeting this past week, and they are, of course, coming up with some of the key resolutions as it comes to the province and what needs to happen here. The big issue is the question of energy and some of the work that is being done. How far are we as a province to begin to be at least relying on our own energy generation capacity?
We are at an advanced stage, but we have been briefed by national leadership, especially the Ministry of Energy, that by December, probably, we will be far much better than we have. There are some power stations that will come online, and on the basis of that, we've been advised that we can. But our worry, Thabo, unfortunately, has shifted away. National leadership is assisting us to deal with load shedding. Our worry is that we've just established that there are 2.4 million people in Gauteng. Even if load shedding can end, we'll not have electricity. Because transformers have been stolen, transformers have been overloaded, they are not functional. Some of the mini stations have been vandalized. All the necessary infrastructure has been destroyed. So even if we can bring and end load shedding, 2.4 million people in Gauteng will be without electricity. So we've taken a different posture as Gauteng to a point, because we don't have the mandate legally to deal with electricity. So we have appointed City Power in Johannesburg to be our implementing agency. We are now putting 1.2 billion on the table to go and buy all these transformers that can be delivered to our people, to fix the substations that have been vandalized, and to ensure that there is electricity in our community. So we are rolling out that process.
How does that work? So while you're talking about 1.2 billion, with the people saying, well, City Power says we won't fix your transformers if you're not paying. So we're first going to come and see if you're paying, and two, if you are allowing us to change your meter into a prepaid meter. Otherwise, you can sit with that infrastructure.
We support that view. That is why before we give you a transformer, there must be a community engagement and a community agreement, because you can replace that transformer to be destroyed again. We must agree on 7 crucial points. The first point is that those that are illegally connected must apply to be legally connected, because we can't place a transformer that is going to be illegally connected. Secondly, those that are purely indigent, the aged, those that are unemployed, must now register to be indigent, so that we know we have a responsibility to give you free electricity without expecting payment. Thirdly, we must deal with debt management. Who owes who? And agree on the arrangement. Fourth, which is very, very important, we must introduce smart meters or prepaid meters, so that you know what you are consuming and you must pay for what you are consuming. Fifthly, which is to us is key, is the improvement of utilizing the latest technology to have electricity infrastructure. And that is very key, because if you don't move with times, there are a lot of new innovations that have come within the energy sector. We want to come there. Sixth, crucial, government must manage intergovernment debts. For example, in Ekurhuleni, people don't have electricity not because they can't afford to pay electricity. The municipality owes Eskom, and Eskom has switched off or attached the asset of that particular municipality. But it's the same government reporting to the same minister. So we must have intra-government a debt management agency that can manage debt rather than use the courts and have long-term problem. The last one is community participation. In the absence of allowing communities to participate in the decision making. We're not going to. So those 7 points, coupled with what we are doing now and the improvement of energy generation in our country, we are of the view as Gauteng, we will be in a position to defeat load shedding.
Let's go to Pillar 5, that of innovation. You were in China recently.
Yes.
You signed a couple of MOUs.
Lots of agreements.
Yeah. What is coming as far as that is concerned?
Well, it's on different aspects. Hydrogen, which is gas, it's coming very, very strong. You might be aware that we now, out of those engagements, we've just launched a new hydrogen car vehicle in Gauteng 2 days ago. And the second one, which is key, is fighting crime. We are of the view that we need to put, because if there is load shedding, the entire township must not be dark, you know. So there are solar masts that can be utilized with batteries and solar that we are putting up in various townships. We've already put up 79. We want to put almost 500 or so in strategic areas in our communities. We are also using technology to fight crime. You're quite aware that we are in the space of fighting crime. So we are putting CCTVs. So we've signed agreements, face recognition CCTVs that will be deployed in various strategic areas in our province. So we've been in China, and Chinese are willing to assist us and to also improve, not only within the energy space, even within the health system. There are new mechanisms that wants to put to fight cancer in particular. There are lots of people that are dying of cancer. So we want to invest in the elimination of cancer and having the necessary latest technology, and we've signed some form of agreements there to deal with those issues as well.
The overall thrust, though, of all these interventions, be it at energy level, be it at a crime level, and I'm sure you'll announce another Nasispani to deal with the water leaks if you have not announced it already. Is there employment? What is your target, and not a target that is, as many people are saying, set for 2024, but your long-term target in your administration?
STATS has issued the latest statistics on economic growth. Gauteng is the only province that have grown the way we've grown, 2.8%, which simply means that we're treating business well, which simply means that we're creating new factories, which simply means that people are believing in the leadership of the province, which simply means that majority of our people are starting to get jobs. That is very impressive to us, 2.8% growth. Again, same stats as A said, the economy of Gauteng has grown, 31%. So both Western Cape and KZN combined are not even coming closer to Gauteng, the way we've grown, which also means that we can be in a position to pump the economy of our province. What we need to do, no one will invest in our province if we still have the high level of crimes that we have, where people are kidnapped and killed, where families in their own houses, someone just come there and do as they wish, where our people are even scared to go to taxi rank because they are marked and attended, where business people are kidnapped. So we have to prioritize the fight against crime, Tabu. We have to put all the relevant resources that we have to fight that battle. If we can't, we would have missed an opportunity to rekindle our economy, but also to propel it to higher heights so that it can create more jobs for our people. From our point of view as government, we've given ourselves a target of almost 24,000 jobs that we can create directly as government, but also with partners outside government, and we are currently at 16,000. So we are halfway. Hopefully by the end of this political term, we would have touched 32,000 souls that were unemployed when this government was reconstituted, and when this government takes stock a year later, 32,000 souls will say, through this government, I got an opportunity to put food on the table in my family. So what would be a threat also to that particular conquest of employment now that we're dealing with is avian influenza? And I believe in Gauteng, it is quite severe as compared to other areas. Are you coming in? Are you intervening? Yes, I got a brief from the experts, and after they briefed me, my view is simple, Tabu. We don't have to go outside to buy either fertilized eggs or new chickens and other things, or go further to relax the necessary regulations to agree. I really believe that we need to tackle the flu head on. get the necessary medication, ensure we tackle it as soon as possible, as quickly as possible. If we invest the energy there, I really believe it will assist us. And we can still, in the interim, indeed, seek the necessary assistance that we have. But my fear is that eggs are a major ingredient in the majority of the food that we use in our country. It can be bread, it can be cakes, it can be whatever. So we have to pull like we did when we were tackling COVID to say, the vaccines that we need in our province, the professionals that we need now, let's deploy them in this particular sector, especially in Gauteng, where we are hit the hardest in other ways.
It's a massive bio-security intervention
that is needed.
You're right, similar to what we saw where schools were being sprayed and that type of intervention.
Yes.
Yeah. Is that where you're thinking?
That's my belief, but the expert feels that because we use tons and tons of chicken per day, that process is very important, but we have to ensure that the economy does not suffer and people get... and South Africans love their chicken, so we just have to... It's just that it pains me that we limp from one crisis to another. It was electricity, it's water, now the petrol price has increased. Now we have to go shelf by shelf looking for eggs. If you are a leader during this period, it affects you, that you lead society that feels that you are not leading properly. But we'll tackle these challenges and we'll ensure that we attend to them.
Appreciate your time. Thank you very much for coming in. ANC Provincial Chairperson Panyaza Lesufi, also Premier of the Gauteng Province. Stay with us. More news on